Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Here we are, third day into Kartik. Happy Kartik to everyone. We hope your Dharmadarastakam and your ghee lamps and all your extra sadhana is going nicely for this special month. D-Day, it's the 3rd of November. The election in America is going on, last day of voting, and significant ramifications for America and for the world. But you know, here we are. We're hearing the pastimes of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu every day together, and it is putting us in another place, a spiritual place. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made the following poetic glorification of the Caitanya-caritämrta. He said, in due course, Mahäprabhu, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Because if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage. Because after it has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda Jai Jai Sri Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, we reached Madhya-lila, chapter 18. The Lord is in Vrndävana, fulfilling his spiritual desire. We're starting with text 55. In the course of this story, I have given a description of Lord Gopal's mercy. After seeing the Gopal deity, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sri Kamyavan. Purport. Kamyavan is mentioned in the Adi Varaha Purana. Chaturham Kamyaka Vanam Vananam Vanam Uttamam Tatragat Vanado Devi Mamaloke Mahiyate. Lord Shiva said, the best of all forests is the fourth of these, named Kamyaka. O Goddess Devi, any person who goes there is eligible to enjoy the glories of my abode. In the Bhakti Ratnakara, fifth wave, it is also said, in this Kamyavan, Krishna performed enchanting pastimes. Here you will be able to take darshan of many ponds and other transcendental spots. I cannot even describe in writing all the sacred tirthas found at Kamyavan. Text 56. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's touring Vrindavan has been previously described. In the same ecstatic way, he traveled all over Vrindavan. Text 57. After visiting the places of Krishna's pastimes at Kamyavan, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu went to Nandeshwar. While there, he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Purport. Nandishwar is the house of Maharaj Nanda. Text 58. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in all the celebrated lakes, beginning with Lake Pavana. Thereafter, he climbed a hill and spoke to the people. Purport. The Pavana Sarovara is described in the Mathura Mahatmya. Pavane sarasi snatva Krishnam Nandishvare girao Drishtva Nandam Yashodam cha Sarva Bishdam Avapnuyat. One who bathes in Pavana Lake by Nandishwar Hill will see Krishna there along with Nanda and Yashoda and will fulfill all his desires. 59. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, "Are there any deities on top of this hill?" The local people replied, "There are deities on this hill, but they are located within a cave." Text 60. There are a father and mother with well-built bodies, and between them is a very beautiful child who is curved in 3 places. 61. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. After excavating the cave, he saw the 3 deities. 62. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his respects to Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, and with great ecstatic love, he touched the body of Lord Krishna. 63. Every day the Lord chanted and danced in ecstatic love. Finally, he went to Kadiravan. Purport. Kadiravan is described in the Bhakti Ratnakar, 5th wave. Behold the forest named Kadiravan, renowned throughout the universe. If one comes to Kadiravan, he can immediately be elevated to Vishnu Loka. 64. After seeing the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes, Sri Chaitanya went to Sheshashayi, where he saw Lakshmi and recited the following verse. O dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. Purport. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-19, spoken by the gopis when Krishna left them in the midst of the Rasa-lila. Text 66. Afterwards, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Caitanya-caritämrta, and then he went to Mandiraban. After crossing the Yamuna River, he went to Bhadravan. Purport. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is said that Sri Krishna and Balaram used to play at Caitanya-caritämrta with the cowherd boys during the entire day. Mother Yashoda had to call them to take their baths and eat their lunch. 67. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited Shrivan and Lohavan. He then went to Mahavan and saw Gokula, the place of Lord Krishna's early childhood pastimes. Purport. Of Shrivan, also called Bilvavan, the Bhakti Ratnakara states, Devata Pujita Bilvana Shobhamaya. The beautiful forest of Bilvavan is worshipped by all the demigods. About Lohavan, the Bhakti Ratnakara, 5th wave, states, Lohavani Krishnera Adbhuta Gochadana Eta Loha Janga Sure Vadi Bhagavan. At Lohavan, Lord Krishna used to tend cows. The demon named Lohajanga was killed at this place. Mahāprabhu is described as follows in the Bhakti Ratnakara, 5th wave. Behold the house of Nanda and Yashoda in Madhya-lila. See the birthplace of Lord Krishna. Madhya-lila and the birthplace of Lord Krishna, Gokula, are one and the same. Text 68. Upon seeing the place where the twin Arjun trees had been broken by Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was moved to great ecstatic love. Text 69. After seeing Gokula, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Mathura, where he saw the birthplace of the Lord. While there, he stayed at the house of the Sanudiya Brahmana. Text 70. Seeing a great crowd assemble at Mathura, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and went to Akrura-tirtha. He remained there in a solitary place. Purport. Akrura-tirtha is also mentioned in the Bhakti Ratnakara, 5th wave. Srinivas, look at this village of Akrura. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there in a solitary place. Text 71. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrndävana and took his bath at Kalia Lake and Praskandana. Purport. Kalia is mentioned in the Bhakti Ratnakara, 5th wave. When one takes a bath in Kalia, he is freed from all sinful reactions. One can also be successful in business by bathing in Kalia. Text 72. After seeing the holy place called Praskandana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Dwadashaditya. From there he went to Keshi-tirtha, and when he saw the place where the rasa dance had taken place, he immediately lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. 73. When the Lord regained his senses, he began to roll on the ground. He would sometimes laugh, cry, dance, and fall down. He would also chant very loudly. 74. Being thus transcendently amused, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that day happily at Keshi-tirtha. In the evening, he returned to Akrura-tirtha, where he took his meal. Text 75. The next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Vrndävana and took his bath at Chiragat. He then went to Tentulitala, where he took rest. 76. The tamarind tree, named Tentulitala, was very old, having been there since the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Beneath the tree was a very shiny platform. Text 77. Since the river Yamuna flowed near Tentulitala, a very cool breeze blew there. While there, the Lord saw the beauty of Vrndävana and the water of the river Yamuna. Text 78. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to sit beneath the old tamarind tree and chant the holy name of his Lord. At noon he would return to Akrura-tirtha to take lunch. Text 79. All the people who lived near Akrura-tirtha came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and due to the large crowds, the Lord could not peacefully chant the holy name. Text 80. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to Vrndävana and sit in a solitary place where he would chant the holy name until noon. 81. In the afternoon, people were able to speak to him. The Lord told everyone of the importance of chanting the holy name. 82. During this time, a Vaishnava named Krishnadas came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a householder belonging to the Kshatriya caste, and his house was located on the other side of the Yamuna. Text 83. After bathing in Keshi Tirtha, Krishnadas went toward Kaliyadaha and suddenly saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting at Amli Tala, Tentuli Tala. 84. Upon seeing the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love, Krishnadas was very much astonished. Out of ecstatic love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Text 85. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Krishnadas, "Who are you? Where is your home?" Krishnadas replied, "I am a most fallen householder." 86. I belong to the Rajputa class, and my home is just on the other side of the river Yamuna. But I wish to be the servant of a Vaishnava. 87. Today I have had a dream, and according to that dream, I have come here and found you. 88. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then bestowed upon Krishnadas his causeless mercy by embracing him. Krishnadas became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance and to chant the holy name of Hari. 89. Krishnadas returned to Akrura-tirtha with the Lord, and remnants of the Lord's food were given to him. Text 90. The next morning, Krishnadas went with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrndävana and carried his water pot. Krishnadas thus left his wife, home, and children in order to remain with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 91. Everywhere the Lord went, all the people said, "Krishna has again manifested at Vrndävana." 92. One morning many people came to Akrura-tirtha. As they came from Vrndävana, they made a tumultuous sound. 93. Upon seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the people offered respects at his lotus feet. The Lord then asked them, "Where are you all coming from?" 94. The people replied, "Krishna has again manifested himself on the waters of the Kaliya lake. He dances on the hoods of the serpent Kaliya, and the jewels on those hoods are blazing." 95. Everyone has seen Lord Krishna himself. There is no doubt about it. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. He then said, "Everything is correct." 96. For 3 successive nights, people went to see Kaliyadaha to see Krishna, and everyone returned saying, "Now we have seen Krishna himself." Everyone came before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, "Now we have directly seen Lord Krishna." Thus, by the mercy of the goddess of learning, they were made to speak the truth, because they were looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 98. When the people saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they actually saw Krishna. But because they were following their own imperfect knowledge, they accepted the wrong thing as Krishna. 99. At that time, Balavada Bhattacharya placed a request at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, "Please give me permission to go see Lord Krishna directly." Purport. The puzzled people who visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were actually seeing Lord Krishna, but they were mistaken in thinking that Lord Krishna had come to Kaliya lake. They all said that they had seen Krishna directly performing his pastimes on the hoods of the serpent Kaliya, and that the jewels on Kaliya's hoods were blazing brilliantly. Because they were speculating with their imperfect knowledge, they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ordinary human being and a boatman's light in the lake as Krishna. One must see things as they are through the mercy of a spiritual master. Otherwise, if one tries to see Krishna directly, he may mistake an ordinary man for Krishna, or Krishna for an ordinary man. Everyone has to see Krishna according to the verdict of Vedic literatures, presented by the self-realized spiritual master. A sincere person is able to see Krishna through the transparent via medium of Sri Gurudev, the spiritual master. Unless one is enlightened by the knowledge given by the spiritual master, he cannot see things as they are, even though he remains constantly with the spiritual master. This incident at Kaliyadaha is very instructive for those eager to advance in Krishna consciousness. Text 100. When Balabhadra Bhattacharya asked to see Krishna at Kaliyadaha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully slapped him, saying, "You are a learned scholar, but you have become a fool, being influenced by the statements of other fools." Purport. Maya is so strong that even a person like Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who was constantly staying with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was influenced by the words of fools. He wanted to see Krishna directly by going to Kaliyadaha, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the original spiritual master, would not allow his servant to fall into such foolishness. He therefore chastised him, slapping him, just to bring him to a real sense of Krishna consciousness. Text 101. Why would Krishna appear in the age of Kali? Foolish people who are mistaken are simply causing agitation and making a tumult. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first statement, Krishna kehe darashana dibe kali kale, refers to the scriptures. According to scripture, Krishna appears in Dwapara Yuga, but he never appears as himself in Kali Yuga. Rather, he appears in Kali Yuga in a covered form. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam. Krishna appears in the age of Kali in the garb of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who always associates with his internal soldiers, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Prabhu, and Gadadhar Prabhu. Although Balabhadra Bhattacharya was personally serving Lord Krishna in his role as a devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he mistook Lord Krishna for an ordinary man, and an ordinary man for Lord Krishna, because he did not follow the rules set down by Shastra and Guru. 102. Do not become mad. Simply sit down here, and tomorrow night you will go see Krishna. 103. The next morning, some respectable gentlemen came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord asked them, "Have you seen Krishna?" 104. These respectable gentlemen replied, "At night, in Kaliya Lake, a fisherman lights a torch in his boat and catches many fish." 105. From a distance, people mistakenly think that they are seeing Krishna dancing on the body of the Kaliya serpent. 106. These fools think that the boat is the Kaliya serpent, and the torchlight the jewels on his hoods. People also mistake the fisherman for Krishna. 107. Actually, Lord Krishna has returned to Vrndävana. That is the truth, and it is also true that people have seen him. 108. But where they are seeing Krishna is their mistake. It is like considering a dry tree to be a person. Purport. The word stanu means a dry tree without leaves. From a distance, one may mistake such a tree for a person. This is called stanu purusha. Although Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was living in Vrindavan, the inhabitants considered him an ordinary human being, and they mistook the fisherman to be Krishna. Every human being is prone to make such mistakes. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was mistaken for an ordinary sannyasi, the fisherman was mistaken for Krishna, and the torchlight was mistaken for bright jewels on Kaliya's hoods. Text 109. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu then asked them, "Where have you seen Krishna directly?" The people replied, "You are a sannyasi, a renunciant. Therefore you are a moving Narayana, Jangama Narayana." Purport. This is the viewpoint of Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy supports the impersonalist view that Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no form. One can imagine impersonal Brahman in any form, as Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Vivaswan, Ganesh, or Devi Durga. According to the Mayavad philosophy, when one becomes a sannyasi, he is to be considered a moving Narayana. Mayavad philosophy holds that the real Narayana does not move because, being impersonal, he has no legs. Thus, according to the Mayavad philosophy, whoever becomes a sannyasi declares himself Narayana. Foolish people accept such ordinary human beings as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Vivarta Vad. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Jangama Narayana means that the impersonal Brahman takes a shape and moves here and there in the form of a Mayavadi sannyasi. The Mayavad philosophy confirms this. Danda grahana matrena naro narayano bhavet. Simply by accepting the danda of the order of sannyas, one is immediately transformed into Narayana. Therefore, Mayavadi sannyasis address one another by saying, Om Namo Narayanaya. In this way, one Narayana worships another Narayana. Actually, an ordinary human being cannot become Narayana. As the chief Mayavadi sannyasi, Sri Shankaracharya says, Narayana padobhyaktat. Narayana is not a creation of this material world. Narayana is above the material creation. Due to their poor fund of knowledge, Mayavadi sannyasis think that Narayana, the absolute truth, takes birth as a human being, and that when he realizes this, he becomes Narayana again. They never consider why Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, would accept an inferior position as a human being and then again become Narayana when he is perfect. Why should Narayana be imperfect? Why should he appear as a human being? Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely explained these points while at Vrindavan. Text 110. The people then said, "You have appeared in Vrindavan as an incarnation of Krishna. Just by seeing you, everyone is now liberated." 111. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu immediately exclaimed, "Vishnu, Vishnu, do not call me the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A jiva cannot become Krishna at any time. Do not even say such a thing." Purport. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu immediately stated that a living being, however exalted he may be, should never be compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching protests the monistic philosophy of the Mayavad school. The central point of Krishna consciousness is that the jiva, the living entity, can never be accepted as Krishna or Vishnu. This viewpoint is elaborated on in the following verses. 112. A sannyasi in the renounced order is certainly part and parcel of the complete whole, just as a shining molecular particle of sunshine is part and parcel of the sun itself. Krishna is like the sun, full of 6 opulences, but the living entity is only a fragment of the complete whole. Text 113. A living entity and the absolute personality of Godhead are never to be considered equal, just as a fragmental spark can never be considered the original flame. Purport. Mayavadi sannyasis consider themselves Brahman, and they superficially speak of themselves as Narayana. The monistic disciples of the Mayavad school, known as Smarta Brahmanas, are generally householder Brahmanas who accept the Mayavadi sannyasis as Narayana incarnate. Therefore they offer their obeisances to them. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu immediately protested this unauthorized system, specifically mentioning that a sannyasi is nothing but a fragmental portion of the Supreme, Chitkana Jiva. In other words, he is nothing more than an ordinary living being. He is never Narayana, just as a molecular portion of sunshine is never the sun itself. The living entity is nothing but a fragmental part of the absolute truth. Therefore, at no stage of perfection can a living entity become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Mayavad viewpoint is always condemned by the Vaishnava school. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself protested this philosophy. When the Mayavadis accept sannyas, they consider themselves Narayana. They become so puffed up that they do not even enter the temple of Narayana to offer respects, for they falsely think themselves Narayana himself. Although Mayavadi sannyasis may offer respects to other sannyasis and address them as Narayana, they do not go to a Narayana temple and offer respects. These Mayavadi sannyasis are always condemned and are described as demons. The Vedas clearly state that living entities are subordinate parts and parcels of the Supreme. Eko bahunam yo vididati kaman. The Supreme Being, Krishna, maintains all living entities. 114. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, is always full of transcendental bliss and is accompanied by the potencies known as Ladini and Samvit. The conditioned soul, however, is always covered by ignorance and embarrassed by the threefold miseries of life. Thus, he is a treasure house of all kinds of tribulations. A treasure house of all kinds of tribulations. Purport. This quotation of Vishnu Swami is cited in Sridhar Swami's Bhavarta Deepika commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 176. A foolish person who says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the same as the living entity is an atheist, and he becomes subject to punishment by the superintendent of death, Yamaraj. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the word Pashandi refers to one who considers the living entity under the control of the illusory energy to be I'll read that again. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the word Pashandi refers to one who considers the living entity under the control of the illusory energy to be equal with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material qualities. Another kind of Pashandi is one who does not believe in the spirit soul, the superior potency of the Lord, and therefore does not distinguish between spirit and matter. While describing one of the offenses against chanting the holy names, specifically the offense called Shruti Shastra Nindana, blaspheming the Vedic literature, Jiva Goswami states in his Bhakti Sandarbha, Yata Pashanda Margena Dattatreyarshava Devopasakanam Pasandinam. Worshippers of impersonalists like Dattatreya are also Pashandis. Concerning the offense of Aham Mama Buddhi or Dehatma Buddhi, concerning the offense of Aham Mama Buddhi or Dehatma Buddhi, considering the body to be the self, Jiva Goswami states, those who are overly absorbed in the conception of the body and the bodily necessities are also called Pashandis. Elsewhere in the Bhakti Sandarbha, it is stated, a Pashandi is one who considers the demigods and the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be one. Therefore, a Pashandi worships any kind of demigod as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who disobeys the orders of the spiritual master is also considered a Pashandi. The word Pashandi has been described in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam, including 4.2.28, 30, and 32, 5, 6, 9, and 12.2, 13, and 3.43. On the whole, a Pashandi is a non-devotee who does not accept the Vedic conclusions. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas 1:117, there is a verse quoted from the Padma Purana describing the Pashandi. Sri Caitanya Mahäprabhu quotes this verse as the following text. 1:16. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmarudradi Daivataihi Samatmenaiva Bhiksheta Sapashandi Bhavedruvam. A person who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on an equal level with Narayana is considered an offender or Pashandi. 1:17. After Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained the difference between an ordinary living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the people said, "No one considers you an ordinary human being. You are like Krishna in every respect, in both bodily features and characteristics. By your bodily features we can see that you are none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj, although the golden luster of your body has covered your original complexion." So they're getting enlightened like anything. Text 119. As the aroma of the As the aroma of the deer musk cannot be concealed by wrapping it in a cloth. As the aroma of deer musk cannot be concealed by wrapping it in a cloth, your characteristics as the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be concealed by any means. Text 120. Indeed, your characteristics are uncommon and beyond the imagination of an ordinary living being. Simply by seeing you, the entire universe becomes mad with ecstatic love for Krishna. If they see you just once, even women, children, old men, meat-eaters, and members of the lowest caste immediately chant the holy name of Krishna, dance like madmen, and become spiritual masters, capable of delivering the whole world. Text 123. Apart from seeing you, whoever listens to your holy name is made mad with ecstatic love for Krishna and is able to deliver the three worlds. 124. Simply by hearing your name, dog-eaters become holy saints. Your uncommon potencies cannot be described in words. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog-eaters becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Purport. For an explanation of this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.6, see Madhya-lila, chapter 16, text 186. These glories of yours are only marginal. Originally, you are the son of Maharaj Nanda. Purport. The original characteristics of a substance are called sarupa, and the subsequent corollaries are called tatashta lakshana, or marginal characteristics. The glories of the Lord's marginal characteristics prove him to be the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Nanda. As soon as one understands this, one accepts Sri Caitanya Mahäprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Again, I've run up against my quota of sitting in a chair. Thank you very much. We'll stop the reading just now. And if there's any reflections or discussions or comments, please be our guests. Our Abhaya Das Brahmacharya is now manning the open mic. We'll only read tonight the comments with reflections, questions, or something like that.
First is from Yadutama.
Yadutama? Haribo Yadutama, Haribo.
He says, Hare Krishna Gurudev, my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I don't think there's a better way to be closer to Vrajabhumi than hearing these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Thank you so much for reading them to us.
Anyway, that's a fact. And it's so interesting how Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu always found opportunities to preach the basics of Krishna consciousness, especially to defeat the Mayavad philosophy. Even though he was there on pilgrimage in Vrindavan, foolish people thought they saw Krishna on the Kaliya serpent in the middle of the Kaliyagat and Kaliyadaha. And Krishna and Lord Chaitanya had to correct them. So this shows that the ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya's movement comes mainly from correcting people's misconceptions about spiritual life. It is our duty to be exemplars of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, or representatives of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and out of mercy correct the misconceptions and misunderstandings and misgivings of the conditioned souls in this Kali Yuga. So even when Lord Chaitanya went to Vrindavan, he was correcting the Mayavadi conception of the ignorant masses. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Premavati Devi Dasi
Hare Krishna, Krishna Premavati
comments saying, how wonderful that at the start of Kartik we are hearing of Lord Chaitanya's visit to Vraj Mandal.
Oh yes.
And especially Vrindavan.
I was thinking the same thing when we started the reading. Nice point.
She has a question also.
Hmm.
She said, are all Smarta Brahmanas in India from the Mayavad school?
Well, as a class, the Smartas are fixed on the rules and regulations as the all in all. In other words, the Smarta Brahmanas consider the rules and the regulations as the masters, and they don't see the purpose behind them. And Rupa Goswami says that this is a reason, a cause for a fall down from the spiritual platform. Just now I forget the Sanskrit word, but it means if you follow the rules and regulations just to be following them and not to be making spiritual advancement and coming closer to Krishna, that's a cause of fall down. And at the same time, if you neglect the rules and regulations, that's also a cause of fall down. So it's not that the Vaishnavas don't follow rules and regulations and the Smartas do, but the Vaishnavas follow the rules and regulations to become purified so that they can awaken their dormant love of Krishna. That's the purpose of their following of rules and regulations. They don't think the rules and regulations are ends in themselves. The Smarta Brahmanas as a class, there are exceptions, of course, to every case, or to every generalization, but the Smarta Brahmanas are, as a class, impersonalists. Hare Krishna. Sometimes they even worship deities, but their idea is to merge into the deities. Hare Krishna.
There's a comment from Sudevi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Sudevi.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. The narration is so beautiful to hear and visualize. Sometimes it comes back to me during the day or night. It's so nice to replace the clutter of my mind with those beautiful pastimes. I watch Parikram videos before falling asleep so I can dream about it, and I also play your recordings more than once. It is so comforting while still in this world of insanity, chaos, and violence. What fortune to have this escape from illusion.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Just like Lord Chaitanya, he's showing how these foolish people thought that they saw Krishna just because they saw a light on a fisherman's boat. We're living like you said, surrounded by confusion and ignorance and misconceptions and misgivings. Ignorance in general. Yes, we are so lucky. We should keep that gratitude deep in our hearts. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Premavati says, thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. It's 10 after 8, and we've gotten almost an hour in. We thank you so much. We wish you well. We wish you ecstatic Kartik, extra hearing and chanting, and regular attendance in this ecstatic reading of Caitanya-caritämrta. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow night. Same place, same station. Here in the Haven. Hare Krishna.